Hey guys, Spud here, and today we have a preview video for Baltic Dragon's upcoming campaign, The Gamblers. I was lucky enough for Baltic Dragon to allow me early access to his campaign, so I could help share what the experience will be like for you guys once you get it into your hands. And after flying through 7 of the 15 missions available in the campaign, it's my belief that many of you guys out there are really going to love this one just like the Raven 1 campaign. Based off of John Rainwater's experience deployed as part of Operation Inherent Resolve with the 77th Fighter Squadron, this campaign will bring you through the birth, and spoiler alert here, death of ISIS, culminating in the Battle of Raqqa from the perspective of an F-16C Viper pilot assigned to the Gamblers. This campaign also brings with it a new tool that I have dubbed the Campaign Interaction System, since Mr. Baltic hasn't given it a name yet. This system allows us to interact with the campaign in an RPG-like manner without our hands ever having to leave our Hotas. Thankfully, The Gamblers also comes with a very helpful tutorial mission voiced by Rain himself of the Afterburn podcast, to show you how this campaign works under the hood and help you set your keybinds for this new interaction system. So big thanks again to Baltic Dragon, and I hope you all enjoy this preview and it helps you decide if this campaign's for you or not.
You're taking fuel.
Alright guys, welcome to the cockpit for the gameplay demo of Mission 3 of Baltic Dragon's upcoming campaign, The Gamblers. And we'll get started here by firing up our F-16. First thing we need to do is come down to the battery switch and bring it to the main power position. And we'll start up our JFS in Start 2 due to the rather chilly morning we've got here in the Jordanian desert. We'll close the canopy as things start to get a little bit louder here. And we will shut the yellow spider there to make sure it's nice and locked. We're going to check our RPM, make sure it's above 20% and rising. That's looking good. We've got a green run light on our JFS panel, so we should be good to introduce fuel to our GE F-110 engine. There's the light off, and RPM is climbing. And we can see our first prompt here from the new campaign interaction system developed by Baltic Dragon for the Gamblers campaign. This system allows us to interact with the campaign to make decisions in a branching RPG-like manner, as well as communicate directly with members of our flight, members of other flights, ATC, and other controlling agencies, without our hands ever having to leave our Hotas. This is a major boon for your immersion as you're flying through these campaign missions. However, as a backup, in case your Hotas is having some issues or DCS is having a hiccup or two, the old-fashioned method of using the spacebar or the F10 radio menu is still there in case you need it. So let's check in with our wingman here once we get power to our main avionics systems online. We'll adjust our internal lighting a bit, turn up the brightness of our HUD, clear out the master caution from our engine startup, and we'll check in with Tally here.
Weasel, check ops. Roger. Grab ATIS and push Pry 3. Let me know when you're ready to taxi.
Okay.
Alright, Tally is flying as Weasel 3-2, our wingman, and she is in a shelter right behind us here at roughly our 5 o'clock, so she'll be taxiing out right after us once we're ready to go. To finish up the startup procedure of our F-16, I like to flow around from the left side of the cockpit around to finish up on the right-hand side. Leading Weasel 3 flight, we've been assigned a position 3 on our anti-collision light. We get our wing, tail, and fuselage lights turned on. We're going to reduce our raw volume down to about 50%. We'll turn up our HMD symbology up to about 50%. We'll get our buckets turned on, our raw equipment turned on. Our stores config is already at Cat 3, which is good to go. we're going to leave our taxi light off for now. This is something that I see DCS World players do quite often, is they just turn their taxi light on as part of their startup procedure. You want to leave that off until you're actually ready to start moving your aircraft as a signal to ground crew as well as other pilots around you that your aircraft is now moving. The left eyebrow is looking good. Looks like our alignment on our INS is finished and good to go. We'll uncage our standby ADI. Engine instruments are all looking good. We're going to make sure that our ejection seat is left de-armed while we're inside of a hardened shelter for obvious reasons. Radar altimeter is going to come on, power to the FCR and our chin stations to power our TGP. Auto brightness is going to be set to day. Internal lighting is already good to go. Temperature is set to auto. Air source is norm, that's good to go. Oxygen panel is blinking, should be good to go there. INS to nav, which means we can now turn on our mids for Link 16 data link. And let's align our HMD. So we'll hit return, list, miscellaneous, R for our HMD, sequence, and M select. I always like to kind of realign my track IR as well when I do this. Press and hold the enable switch. Alignment OK, M select to save it. Fine alignment, we'll use our TDC to really align everything perfectly. That's looking good. And the roll is also looking pretty darn good. So let's save that alignment for the HMD. We'll sweep around the cockpit, make sure we're ready to go. Looks like Tally is ready to go, so we should be good in just a second here. We will grab the ATIS.
Pledge receipt of information uniform. King Faisal Air Base information uniform. Time 0355. Wind 315 at 12. Visibility greater than 10 miles. Scattered 19,000 feet. Temperature 24. Dew point -35. Altimeter 3002. Runway in use 28. Expect
Alright, 3002 on the altimeter setting. And we'll get over onto the tower frequency. And let's set up our knee board here so that way we can quickly reference all the information we need about our flight and navigation, the strike package, and threats, as well as our targeting information, our airfield diagram. We are here in Shelter 12 and Tally, our -2. She's over here in Shelter 11 at roughly our 5 o'clock back there. We got weather, and we've got more nav information that we're going to need. And I think we are ready to go. So let's go ahead and use our campaign interaction keybinds to keep this radio conversation moving
And
forward.
one is ready. Contacting tower.
Tower Weasel 2-1, taxi 2 with uniform.
And Weasel 2 flight across the active from us here
Weasel 2-1,
jumped in front of us.
taxi to runway 28. Tower Weasel 2-1, taxi runway 28.
My track IR kind of straightened up here a little bit. Come on, here we go.
Tower Weasel 3-1, taxi 2 with uniform.
Weasel 3-1, tower, taxi behind Weasel 2, runway 28.
Tower Weasel 3-1, taxi runway 28.
Alright, we are good to taxi to runway 28. Starting to roll. Taxi light is coming on. We are outside of our hardened shelter now, so we can arm our ejection seat. And we can see that Weasel 2 over there also only turned his taxi light on once he was ready to start rolling. And because I'm a good squadron mate, I'm going to turn my taxi light off as I get pointed at our squadron mates over here.
Clear for takeoff, runway 28, winds are 310 for 12. Tower, Weasel 2-1, clear for takeoff, runway 28.
Tower, Weasel 3-1, number 228.
Weasel 3-1, hold position.
Weasel 3-1.
Alright, we're holding position here. And here comes Tally, taxiing out behind us. And it looks like Weasel 2 flight is up and away.
Weasel 3-1, clear for takeoff, runway 28, winds are 310 for 12.
Weasel 3-1, cleared for takeoff, runway 28.
Alright, we're clear takeoff, runway 28. We're going to sweep around the cockpit, make sure we are good to go. Everything is looking good. And I don't know if you count this little detail, which is a great little detail in the mission here, is the wind is not exactly the same as it was reported on the ATIS as reported by the tower controller. That is just an awesome little addition to the campaign that is just a small and unnecessary addition, I suppose, but just adds to the detail and realism of flying through the Gambler's campaign. So we got a right to left crosswind here, and we've got a pretty asymmetrical loadout, so it's going to be an interesting takeoff. So we're going to roll the jet to the right hand side a bit, and we're going to punch it, Chewie. And as we start to increase our airspeed, we're going to start to walk out that right-hand roll on our stick as the jet gets more stable, as more air flows over our vertical stab. And we're going to rotate. Come on, jet. There we go. Gears coming up. And we are out of burner, coming right to be above 6,000 feet by steer point 1. And it looks like we are adhering perfectly to our departure procedure. Now, for these SCAR missions, one of the major limiting factors on your roll time is going to be your wingman's fuel. So there is no reason to rush and go too fast and climb too high too fast on the departure, because it's just going to make your wingman use more fuel. And he or she is going to be using typically about 20 to 30% more gas than you all the time. Perfect. Made our 6,000 or above at steer point 2. Now let's fly on over to steer point 2. Alright, we're going to switch over to our AIC frequency on Pry 4 and check in with Wizard.
Weasel, check.
And we're going to go ahead and roll on out. And now that we no longer have any at or aboves, we'll just go for a nice easy climb, 5 degrees nose up, and allow Tally to get saddled, no problem. There she is. Perfect. Going to set Dash 2 as our primary data link track. Make it a little bit easier to keep track of her. And we're going to set up our radar, so that way we can scan the airspace out in front of us. We'll be climbing up to 18,000 feet today, just underneath the cloud deck. And it's very important that if you're in an area where you could potentially have SAMs shot at you, you want to be underneath the cloud deck and not above the cloud deck to ensure you can see that SAM launch. Because if you can see the SAM launch, you can avoid it. But if you can't see the SAM launch and it's coming up at you through the clouds, you're pretty much toast. Alright, 8,000 feet to go. as you fly through the Gamblers campaign, you want to make sure that you have your sensors up and scanning the airspace around you, whether that's your air-to-air radar, or your air-to-ground radar, or your targeting pod, and even your Mark 1 eyeball, always looking around. Yep. There's always going to be events happening around you that you want to report.
Wizard, Weasel 2-1, declare pop-up group, bullseye 215 for 65, 12,000, track southeast. Roger. Contact bullseye 215 for 65, 12,000, probable fencer, no factor, skipping. Weasel 2-1, copy, fencer.
Alright, let's see if we can get this Syrian Arab Air Force fencer on our radar here, so we can identify it, and hopefully score some extra points. In these earlier missions, your wingmen, as well as flights around you, and even Red Crown or Wizard are going to help you identify and find these different events happening around you, in the world around you. But as you get to the later stages of the campaign, it's going to be up to you, as the leader of the flight, to call in things like this anomalous fencer flying through our strike package today. So we'll get altitude hold turned on. And based off of the bull's call, I believe this is going to be our guy. Whoop. Trim out our jet with our big old asymmetrical loadout. We'll go to air master mode. We'll pull up our targeting pod. Go to Twiz mode again. And there is our trespasser. And there he is. From the side profile view, that definitely looks like a fencer. When I first pulled it up, I thought it was going to look like kind of like an F-100 or something like that. But this far south, we know it's definitely not a Turkish F-100, that's for sure. Also, it is the wrong century for that. So like I said earlier, guys, using these campaign interaction keybinds, you're going to want to, in further missions of this campaign, report seeing, say, a fencer on your radar that shouldn't be there, or a firefight occurring on the ground, or an explosion from a car bomb, things of that nature that you will score extra points in the campaign, which leads to you advancing through the missions of the campaign easier and with more frequency, and not have to repeat these missions quite as often. And based off of looking at him flying through our HUD there and on the radar, he is absolutely hauling. And as he banks, yeah, that's definitely a Su-24. It looks like he's probably popping some flares at the same time. It's like I can see him visually at this point. And he is gone. Go back to navigation master mode here, turn up our brightness on our HSD, and we can see our flanker friend, or our fencer friend I should say, visually. And here is another example of the type of event that you might see that you're going to use that campaign interaction keybind to report to Red Crown, Magic, Wizard, your flight, whoever you might need to report it to. It looks like our fencer is rolling in for an attack run.
Weather, we look at one fencer is engaging targets with rockets at hold 190 for 75.
Roger.
This is pretty close to the border. Roger. Your ROE is with it.
Yep.
Weasel 2-1, weapons hold.
How much is Syrians fighting here? I didn't see any intel on IS positions this far south.
Me neither. possibly one of the insurgent groups that fight both them and ISIS.
And as you can see here, in these early missions, our wingmen and other flights are walking us through this mechanic of finding these kind of anomalous events around us, in the world around us, which helps to make things feel a lot more alive, which is definitely a great addition to the campaign. Yep, there he is down there. I can see him start to
Wizard, Weasel 2-1, roger.
turn back to the
Weasel
south.
2-1 is turning to Queen. Weasel 2-1, Wizard, say intentions. Weasel 2-1 will run Scar to your Queen. Roger that, Weasel 2-1. Reaper 1-1, Gadget Bent is no longer on station at Queen. It'll be solo. Push button 5 and report any contacts. We'll relay to Red Crown for attack clearance. Wizard, Weasel 2-1 will go.
Alright, so Weasel 2 is flying out towards their kill box, codenamed Queen, and it looks like their Reaper that's on
Stand by
station
for
over there is
check-in
Gadget
with
Bent, so that's kind of annoying for them.
Wizard, Weasel 3-1 with you, inbound to Rook.
Roger, Weasel 3-1, say intentions.
Wizard, Weasels will run Scar near Bishop.
Roger, picture clean. We have eyes on Evo north of Bishop. Reaper 3-1 is on station at Bishop. Blackbird 6-3 is working to the west. Locks 200 through 240. Blackbird 6-5 is working near King. Lock 180 through 200. Texaco is on track.
Wizard, Weasel 3-1 copies all.
Blackbird is a flight of F-18s that are flying BARCAP to help protect us from any prying Syrian Arab Air Force MiGs who might get in our way. And they are belonging to the Royal Australian Air Force, if I remember correctly from the mission briefing. So you guys might be wondering, what is SCAR? SCAR is Strike Coordination and Reconnaissance. You can essentially think of it as armed
Weasel
recon.
3-1 flight, fence in.
Alright. We'll go ahead and fence in. The campaign will keep track of the switch positions in your cockpit for your master arm, your countermeasures, as well as your external lights to let the campaign know that you are actually fenced in.
Fenced in.
Now, of course, there's some more things we need to check when we actually fence in than just those three switches. Check our fuel. We'll go ahead and get our laser set up for the code for our weapon. We got 1686 for our two GBU-12s.
Cowboy 2-1, Wizard, roger. Picture clean. Blackbird 6-3 is on station to the west. Block 200 through 240. Blackbird 6-5 is working near Key. Block 180 through 200. Weasel 2-1 is going to Queen. Weasel 3-1 is en route to Bishop. Texaco on track. How copy? Cowboy 2-1.
Now, as you guys fly through the campaign, I highly recommend that once you get closer to your kill boxes, you set your air-to-ground radar to GMT mode, so that way you can find any moving vehicles that might be a juicy target of opportunity, such as an ISIS convoy that's full of weapons to be delivered to a battle area. That Patriot battery behind us sure has our raw equipment worried. You can definitely see how extensive the Syrian Arab Army's air defense network is all around us here as we zoom out on the HSD. You guys will see that that definitely pisses off our gamblers pilots when you read through the mission briefings.
Wizard, Weasel 2-1, on station at Queen. Weasel 2-1, Wizard, roger, picture clean.
Okay, 20 miles to go. Sensors on Bishop. We'll use waypoint 3 as our IV.
2.
Alright, we'll get our sensors over onto Bishop. Go for white hot on our TGP. Go wide on our TGP field of view. And we'll continue into our IP and we'll orbit at the IP point. And it looks like there is our target city in the center of Bishop, where we'll be working today.
Wizard, Weasel 3-1 approaching Bishop, commencing SCAR.
Weasel 3-1, happy hunting.
Thank you, sir.
Alright. And Tally's going to break off from us and initiate an orbit at the IP point. And we'll let her build up some separation, and we'll follow her into our own left-handed orbit. I always prefer going for a left-hand orbit as opposed to a right-hand orbit. We're high enough that we're well outside the range of man pads, even at the high elevation of Bishop. And it looks like we have a set of moving vehicles down there to take a look at. and this is why we always want to make sure we have...
Approximately 5 miles northeast from Bishop.
Roger. Looking.
That's why we always want to have our GMT mode of our radar up and running once we're in our kill box.
Convoy with mounted HMG and 3 cargo trucks in the middle.
Roger. Standby.
Alright, yep, I can definitely see those guys, so we'll go ahead and let her know that we have
Weasel
it.
3-1, contact convoy in the open. Wizard, Weasel 3-1, tally a convoy in the open. 2 technicals with HMGs and 3 military trucks headed towards Bishop from the northeast.
Weasel 3-1, Wizard, Roger. Targeting them to Fort Alpha received. You are cleared hot. Weapons free.
Weasel 3-1.
Alright, so now we have our first branching option we can choose. We can either order a simultaneous attack, or we can tell Tally to hold her position at the IP point, and we'll just attack the convoy solo. So why don't we go ahead and go for a simultaneous attack, and that way we can both hit the 2 AAA trucks at the front and rear of the convoy. So let's go with the both
We'll
attack
first
option.
engage the 2 armed vehicles with a MAV each, then clean up with guns.
2.
I'll take the lead vehicle, you take the trailing one. Stand by for fighter to fighter.
2. Ready.
Alright, we're going to stand by. We're not quite ready to engage yet. We are going to fly back towards the IP. Again, there's no big rush here. We're just going to head on back there, and then we'll give Tally the fighter-to-fighter briefing. This may be something a little bit new to you guys, flying this campaign. It is the fighter-to-fighter briefing. Essentially think of it as like a 9-line, but instead of being from a ground controller, that's from 2 fighter aircraft to another fighter aircraft. So it looks like we're getting back into position here, so let's go ahead and give her the fighter-to-fighter.
Wedge, shooter, AGM-65, in from the southeast, wheel, go.
2.
Alright, we're going to be in from the southeast. Looks like I'm a bit out of position here, but we'll make sure that we are able to follow our target. And we'll get a point track on the lead vehicle, and we'll open up the weapon page. And we are in. There we go. Now we got a point track on him. Need to get a little bit closer to get a good lock with our Maverick. You can see the 3 vehicles. In the middle, there's our lead technical. Probably need to get a little bit closer for a lock. Try to initiate it. Nope, no good.
Weasel 3-2, rifle.
Alright, Tally's got her weapon off. Let's see. There we go.
Weasel 3-1, rifle.
And we want to climb back up above the danger area for man pads, especially as we're over the top of the city here. And impact. Good shack, right on
Weasel
that technical.
3-1, splash target.
Okay, we'll get back up to 18,000 and we're going to recycle back to the IP point.
Weasel 3-2, good hit. Weasel 3-2, vehicles have stopped. Tally enemy troops leaving their vehicles and scattering.
2, engage with guns.
Weasel 3-2.
Wizard Cowboy 2-1, on station 10 nautical miles south. Cowboy 2-1, Wizard, Weasel 2-1 is working that area. Push button 5 and stand by. Wizard, Cowboy 2-1, roger.
Alright, Tally's going to fly around and engage the remaining vehicles and dismounted infantry with her M61A1 Vulcan cannon as we head back to the IP and keep a overwatch on her. So it looks like she is running in for her first gun run. Keep getting a little high and getting into the clouds here. Let's try and avoid that. And we'll reestablish a left-hand orbit at the IP point.
Guns done.
Nice, looks like good guns there. And this is probably going to use a lot of her gas, so we may have to cycle back to the tanker and potentially come back. We'll see what her fuel state is like once she gets done with her shooting up these trucks. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We'll go ahead and bank left and reestablish this hold over the top of the IP. Still got 10,000 pounds of gas. I think we're doing pretty good.
Guns done. One target left.
Alright. We'll go ahead and ease out of that bank angle. The autopilot's going to try and climb back up to the original altitude. We set it to hold. And check in on the BDA for Tally. Looks like she definitely got the second vehicle. And a third vehicle will be our next target. Looks like she is in on the third truck.
2, guns done.
And nice guns.
Good job, Weasels. Return to IP.
Alright, we are already circling the IP, and Tally is climbing to rejoin us up here. So we'll go ahead and contact Wizard.
Wizard Weasel 3-1.
Weasel 3-1, go ahead.
Wizard BDA for targeting message 4 Alpha. 5 vehicles destroyed.
Weasel 3-1, copy all. Message 4 Alpha closed. I proceed with support.
2-1, push Pry 6.
2.
Alright, we're now going to push over to Prize 6, which, if I'm not mistaken, should be Ghost, our JTAC, working in the Reaper. So we'll go 6, whoops, 6, enter, and we'll check in with Ghost.
Weasel radio check.
2.
Ghost Weasel 3-1 radio check.
Weasel 3-1, Ghost, reach you 5x5. Send it.
Weasel 3-1 checking in. 2 ship of F-16s, 10 nautical miles south from Bishop. We have 2 GBU-12, 2 GBU-38, guns, vol time 0+30, abort code Rhino, available for tasking.
Weasel 3-1, Ghost, roger. Stand by for an update on Bishop. Weasel Flight, I'm a JTAC operating remotely from an air operations center with a single unmanned asset in my stack. Break. We will operate under Type 2 control. We have identified multiple ISIS targets, including a tank, ACC, several trucks, a manned checkpoint, and an ammo dump, all within Bishop. Light and medium AAA reported within the AO, but none have been VID. Your first task will be a simultaneous attack on the enemy tank and ACC. Set strike posture, stay when ready for dive line.
2, you ready?
Affirm.
Alright, so she is climbing back up to join us here at the IP. Now, as we were checking in with Ghost there, we did see a couple of AAA pieces as well as a tank down there in the city in the middle of our kill box. However, we can't be sure that that is the correct tank and the correct AAA pieces he was referencing, so we're going to need to work off of his 9 line, especially in a crowded and densely packed urban area like this. So we'll go to steer point, and we'll go to steer point 21. We'll sequence it, so that way we can work with MGRS that he'll be giving us. Sequence, let's see here. There we go, there's MGRS. And let's go ahead and get that 9 line from the Reaper.
Weasel 3-1, ready for 9 line.
Weasel Flight, Ghost, 9 line Alpha as follows. 356, offset west, 9.0, 1524 feet. Armored tank, 37, Sierra Delta uniform, 8 feet 4, 7 Niner, 5 Niner, 14, no mark, no factor, Egress out.
Alright, we'll use the, rather than having to repeat, we'll use our targeting information for our city here. It's going to be 37 Sierra Delta Uniform. So we'll go enter, 37, enter, Sierra QRS, enter, enter, and we've got Delta Uniform, A, B, C, D, enter, uniform, enter, and I believe that should be it. So let's go ahead and confirm
Ghost
that 9
Weasel
line.
31 readback 1524 feet. Delta Uniform 8847 59er 14. No factor. Ready for remarks.
Weasel flight. Ghost. Request 1GB12 on the south and north run-in. We do have AAA reported in the southern portion of the AO, with possible advanced adverse throughout the city. The nearest collateral concern is a mosque, approximately 100 meters to the southeast.
Alright, we got those remarks.
Ghost Weasel 311 GBU-12 south to north run-in.
Weasel flight. Good readback. Stay with eyes on target Alpha.
Alright, we'll get eyes on target Alpha. We should be converted to lat long already. So we'll go sequence back, return, steer point 21, cursor 0. And when we roll out here, we should have eyes on our target. Alright, let's keep the turn coming. And zoom in the pod in. Yep, there's our tank. We have a tally on the target. So let's go ahead and let Ghost know.
Ghost Weasel 31 contact tank, grid, Delta Uniform 884598.
Weasel flight. Ghost. Copy all for target Alpha. They were ready for 9 line Bravo.
Alright, so this 9 line is going to be for 2. And we'll let them know we're ready.
Ghost Weasel 31 ready.
Weasel. Ghost. 9 line Bravo as follows. 354 offset west. 9er point 5. 1574 feet. APC. 37 Sierra Delta Uniform. 879er 605. No mark, no factor, egress.
Alright, I'm sure she got it, so let's go ahead and confirm
Ghost
it.
Weasel 31 readback 1574 feet, Delta Uniform 879er 605. No factor. Ready remarks.
Weasel. Ghost. Request 1GU38 on the east-west run. Threat remains the same as 9 line Alpha.
Ghost Weasel 31 1 GBU 38 east to west run in.
Weasel flight. Good readback. Stay with eyes on target Bravo.
Who is Tally?
Alright, Tally has Tally on the target,
Ghost
so
Weasel
let him know.
31 contact APC grid Delta Uniform 879er 605.
Weasel flight. Copy all. That is target Bravo. Calling with directions.
Ghost Roger, both targets seem to be close to civilian houses. Please confirm that this attack has clearance from Red Crown.
Weasel flight. That's affirmative. Commander's initials, Golf Hotel.
Ghost Weasel 31 Roger, stand by.
Alright, so we definitely have authorization for these targets, and it looks like they're using these...
Tally, I want you to go first with the 38 and smash that APC. I'll be behind you, and even if the tank starts moving, I'll get it with the paved way. Ready for fighter?
Ready.
Wedge, shooter, GBU 12 and GBU 38. M from the south for 1, in from the east for 2. Egress south for 1, egress west for 2. On my mark.
2.
Alright. So we're going to let Tally get back to her position to get set up and ready for a run-in from the east, and we will get set up for a run-in from the south. The idea here is for her bomb to impact first because she can't hit a moving target with a GBU-38, and we will clean up the tank with the GBU-12, and in case the tank crew panics and starts moving the tank, we'll still be able to hit him with our GBU-12.
Weasels, go.
Alright, so we can see via data link.
IP inbound to target Bravo.
Weasel 3-2, Ghost. Continue target Bravo.
Alright, like I said earlier, we're going to wait a second here before we run in until Tally gets further out to the east for her east to west run-in for the target. Still 8.7 for our fuel, so we should be good to go for a while here. And we can see there's definitely what looks like an S-60 near the tank. We'll see if we get engaged by it here, and a ZU-23 on the rooftop just to the left of the tank as well. It looks like Tally is getting closer to being at a point where she'll start to be in on the target. So we'll go ahead and spin one more time directly over the top of the IP, and I think we should be good to go. So let's kick the autopilot off. Bring up the power just a hair. We'll kind of tighten up this spin a bit. Alright, angle starting to look good. She's going to be turning any second now.
Ghost, Weasel 3-2 is in from the east.
She's in from the east, we'll be in from the
Weasel
south
3-2,
momentarily.
Cleared hot, cleared hot, cleared hot.
She's cleared hot on her target.
Weasel 3-2, bomb away. 70 seconds inside.
Ghost, Weasel 3-1, IP inbound for target Alpha.
Weasel 3-1, Ghost. Continue target Alpha.
Alright, we are continuing for our target. SMS, GBU-12, back to the targeting pod. A little bit on the slow side, so we'll pop it into burner for a second, make up some energy here. Out of burners. Lasers armed.
Ghost, Weasel 3-1, in from the south.
Weasel 3-2, good effects.
Alright, she got good effects on target.
Cleared hot, cleared hot.
Weasel
And
3-1, one away.
1686 is our laser code, should be good to go. Laser is armed. Looks like the tank is remaining stationary, so that'll be an easy kill for us. Laser is firing. Almost didn't trust it for a second there and almost squeezed the trigger. Got a little bit worried. And splash. Good shack. That is one dead tank.
Good hit on first target.
Oh wow, a whole bunch of secondaries from targets around it as well. Alright, and we're going to egress back to the south.
Hit. Target destroyed. I have another one for y'all. They went ready for 9-line Charlie.
Weasel 3-1, roger.
Alright. She's ready to go. I'm going to head back to the south here before we get that 9 line, and that way we'll be out of the danger area around the city here as we start to go heads down in the cockpit and work on this next target. I'm going to round. And we are going to roll on out. Get the autopilot back on, and then we'll receive that next 9 line. Altitude hold. We'll go for steer point 22, enter, and I am almost ready.
Weasel 3-1, ready for 9 line.
Weasel, Ghost. 9-line Charlie as follows. 3-5 and 9er offset west. 9er point 1. 1,537 feet. Ammo dump. 37-0 Delta uniform. 894 3760 tree. 1-2. No mark, no factor, egress.
Alright, and again, we'll use our target knee board here, 37 Sierra Delta uniform. Alright. Enter 37 Sierra. Enter. Enter again. Delta. QRSTU. Enter. And we should be good to go there. We're going to convert that. And I think we should be good to go.
Ghost, Weasel 3-1, read back. 1537 feet. Delta uniform 8-9er 4 3760 3-1-2. No factor. Ready for remarks.
Weasel 3-1, good read back. Request 1 500-pounder on the south-north run. Surface-to-air threats remain the same, and your target area consists of ammo crates and a truck located within a small courtyard of the two-story building.
Alright, so we're looking for ammo crates and a truck.
Ghost,
okay.
Weasel 3-1, 1 GBU south to north run in.
Weasel 3-1, the GBU will be perfect. Stay with eyes on target Charlie.
Roger.
Alright, looks like we got plenty of clearance away from Tally, so we'll start heading back in. Gaining a little too much altitude there, getting into the cloud deck, so we'll bring it back in. Dip down a little bit.
Tally on. Technical, just north of the courtyard, and a few armed bad guys next to the crate.
Alright, let's zoom the pod in.
Raj.
Can't really tell just yet, so let's get a little bit closer. I think I'm going to take the target this time, due to Tally going in and doing those gun runs, so she's probably a little bit lower on fuel than I am, or probably quite a bit lower on fuel than I am. and that will give us a little bit more on station time, so we won't have her waste too much gas doing a run-in, and just have her orbit the IP point here. I'm starting to see potentially what looks like it. Yep, that's definitely a truck and a courtyard, so I'm going to go ahead and call the
Weasel
tally.
3-1, tally the ammo dump.
Roger, Weasel. Calling with directions.
Okay, I'm going to go with me, who attacks.
2-1, fighter to fighter, shooter, eyeball, GBU-12, in from the south, off east.
Alright. I wasn't quite set up to go directly in on the run-in there, so we're going south to east, so I am going to spin again and get directly positioned on top of the IP for a good run-in on our assigned heading. Out a little bit. Yeah, that is definitely our target. Looks like crates and a truck inside of a courtyard. That's definitely what we were looking for. We should be good at this point to turn around and fly directly on in. Watch for tally over there. No factor. Okay. And we are
Ghost
in.
Weasel 3-1, IP inbound.
Weasel 3-1, continue.
Alright, that's definitely a better heading coming into the target. Alright. Get a little bit of energy back, a little score to afterburner, and we should be good. Pressing and holding the pickle button.
Weasel 3-1, in from the south.
And
Weasel
Payflight.
3-1, one away.
Weasel 3-1, continue.
looks like there's some personnel near the truck and the crates as well. Zoom out the pod a little bit. And there's definitely a technical next to the target area. There's 10 seconds left. Laser is firing. We got a point track right on that poor guy next to the truck. And shack. Whoa! Definitely some big secondaries there. Took out the technicals as well. Nice shot. Alright, and we are egressing to the east. We are fully Winchester at this point.
Weasel Flight, I have another target for you.
Ghost, roger, stand by.
This is Joker.
Roger, let's go get a drink.
Alright, looks like Tally's Joker
Ghost,
fuel.
Weasels are at the end of full time. We'll go get a drink and then we can come back.
Roger that, Weasel 3-1. I have a pair of Eagles coming our way, so y'all are clear to RTB.
Roger that, Ghost. Pleasure working with you.
Anytime, Weasel Flight. See you.
Alright, so we have a couple of Strike Eagles relieving us on station for the SCAR tasking, so we are going to head to the tanker and grab some gas.
Ghost, Cowboy 2-1. Cowboy 2-1, send it for Ghost. Ghost 2-1 is a two-ship of F-16C, 20 nautical miles southeast from the ship. We have AGB-12, AGB-38, 20 light, and full time of 0+60, 4 code Zulu, and we're available for task. Roger that, Cowboy 2-1. I'm a JTAC operating remotely from the Air Operations Center with a single unmanned asset by stat. Break. We will operate as type 2 control, and our IP is 10 nautical miles south of Bishop. Missile flight cleanups a target for us, but they were nice and left to go scrap. The remaining targets include a roadblock, several trucks, a fuel outpost, and some medium AAA. Your first target will be the AAA. Ghost Cowboy 2-1, roger. Stand by.
Weasel push, pry 4. Weasel check.
2.
Wizard, Weasel 3-1.
Alright, and she's rejoining on us.
Weasel 3-1, go.
Weasel 3-1 flight is at the end of Vol, finishing our work at Bishop. Show us RTB.
Roger that, Weasel. And now on track.
Wizard, Weasel 3-1, roger.
2, joining.
Alright, 2's joining up on us. She's Joker Fuel. I'm at 6.8. Why don't we go ahead and get some gas here and show you guys what air-to-air refueling in the Gamblers campaign looks like. Because it's pretty cool and pretty smooth when it all works well. So let's go ahead and go for it.
2, let's climb and head for Texaco. Track Yankee.
2.
Alright, track Yankee is going to be steer point 5 for us, and it's going to be up at 27,000. So we'll go ahead and climb on up and start heading for our steer point. I go ahead and come out of air to ground master mode and go over to navigational master mode. Ensure that my radar is up and scanning the airspace around us in case we have any more intruding Syrian MiGs. And we'll come back around towards steer point 5 here. Not sure why my aircraft is wanting to point me back towards Bishop. Huh. Interesting. Well, we'll just go off of the HSD. And of course, when things go wrong, we can always figure out a way to get to the right place where we need to go. That is part of being a good airman and flying and doing what we need to do. So let's try this. See if we can select the correct waypoint using... There we go. And nope, HUD is still pointing us back towards Bishop. That's a little bit odd, but we will run with it. And that is probably our tanker at 26,000 feet. So we'll go ahead and put a soft twiz lock on him. That'll help us keep track of where he is. And Texaco's TACAN is 74 X-ray, so we'll get that set. 74, enter, that's good to go. We'll turn off the TACAN identifier. There we go. Just had to hit cursor 0 on the targeting pod page, and now we're back in business with a good navigational reference on our HUD. Perfect. So we'll go with TACAN, got a good arrow to our tanker. You can see Tally visually behind us as she runs to catch back up with us. So again, no need to run her out of gas going too fast here. We got plenty of gas ourselves to get to the tanker, get a sip of juice, no problem. 1,000 feet to go to climb up to the tanker track altitude. Hopefully the tanker heaves back up at 27,000, perfect. And looks like we got a, potentially a low, slow mover here, so let's take a look. And get him onto our radar. Nope, nope, and he's gone. Okay. Let go of our stick, make sure she's nice and trimmed out as much as possible. We can check our trim wheels. Looks like we got a little bit of left wing down, but she seems pretty stable here, so I'm going to just go ahead and leave that for now. Alright, blew through 27,000 a bit, so we'll come back down, and we'll get the autopilot turned back on to relieve some of our pilot workload here. Try our best to do as nice of a join up on a tanker as we can, especially being flying an F-16 way up here at 27,000. Seems like sometimes we can stall pretty easily flying this jet and then never make it back up to the tanker without using up all of our gas and afterburner, so we'll be careful of that. Altitude holds back on. You can see Tally visually behind us. She's just right in our deep six, coming on out after us. Looks like she's about maybe 10 miles behind us or so. A little closer than that.
Weasels, fence out.
Alright, time to fence out. Again, master arm, countermeasures, as well as external
One,
lights
fence out.
are the metrics that the campaign is looking for. But we have a few other things we need to do as well. Lasers coming off, we're going to double check our fuel. We got 6,000 pounds even. Externals are
Weasels,
fully
go,
empty.
button 5.
2.
And we are on
Weasel,
button 5
check.
for Texaco.
2.
Alright. We are going to contact the tanker using the normal DCS comms menu. So we'll go ahead and go COM 1, push the talk button, F6 for the tanker, and
Texaco,
intent to refuel.
131. Request rejoin.
3-1, Texaco 1-1, proceed to pre-contact at 27,000 at 240.
Alright, 27,000 at 240, and I think I can get rid of that little prompt on the right side of my screen here, so I'm going to use the keybinds for the campaign interaction. And we'll just fly for our join up on the left wing of the tanker, and we'll slide on over to the boom.
Joining Texaco in observation left.
Alright, we're a bit fast, so let's go ahead and pop the speed brakes out. Hopefully we don't pass the tanker, because that would be a little bit embarrassing here. Come on, Jet. Slow down. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Slow down. Slow down, slow down, slow down. And just barely made it right to observation on the left wing of the tanker. So, as per the mission briefing, we'll just get about 2,000 pounds of gas. We really probably don't need it to make it home to King Faisal Air Base, but we'll just do it for the sake of entertainment in the video here. Just slide on down below the boom. And again, we're up high in an F-16, so I'm having to use quite a bit of power to get back up to speed behind the tanker. We'll open up our air-to-air refueling door. Whoop. And let's get our fuel page up. We'll get a DED repeater on the HUD, so that way we can tell when we've gotten 2,000 pounds of gas pretty easily. We'll just gently slide on up to the tanker here.
Ready, pre-contact.
Cleared contact.
On the high side. Come on, Jet. Okay, looks like we're good on altitude. Maybe a little hair low. We just need to pull up a bit. Putting the jet into a bit of a right-hand slip here. So I always find that that makes it a little bit easier to air-to-air refuel. Come on, Jet. Bring her up. Come on. There we go. Looking good. Come on. Nice and gentle, nice and easy with it.
You're taking fuel.
Bring her upstairs, just a hair. Looking good. A little far back, we'll add some power. Obviously we're getting heavier and we're high in the F-16 here. We got a whole bunch of drag with 3 bags. Looking good. Come on, to the right, just a hair. Almost there. Just a little bit more. And there's 8,000. So we'll go ahead and slide over to observation right. And let Tally get a little gas.
Abort rejoin.
We are done with our air-to-air refueling.
1 is done. Fill her up to 4,000.
Get our door closed. The AI always maneuvers so violently and it always freaks me out. I don't know if it's some sort of weird parallax or something, but it looks like she's too far to the right-hand side. But I could be wrong. Let's see how it goes. Nope, she's looking good.
Ready to move move on.
Alright, well she had more gas than I thought she did, and she is ready to go. And she just passed right underneath us because I just got an altitude warning from my radar altimeter, so that's kind of funny. So I'm not quite sure where she went, but we'll go ahead and slide off the tanker, and we'll say thank you, tanker. Get our FCR back on. We can go ahead and get rid of our DED repeater.
Mexico Weasel 3-1, thanks for the drink. Weasels descend to Angels 1-5, turn to waypoint 7.
2.
Alright, Angels 1-5, waypoint 7. Alright, there she is. Perfect. And we should start to pick up some speed as we start heading downhill here. Alright, and she's in trail of us, so let's try and slow down a little bit, let her catch up. And I got a couple of other aircraft around, but shouldn't be anything that will be a factor for us traffic-wise. These are probably our bar-cap FA-18s from the Australians, and probably a AWACS E3. Yep, looks like an E3 based off our RWR there. We're definitely going to want to keep our raw equipment turned on for our return flight here, even though we're fenced out and over Jordanian territory, because if we were to accidentally get engaged by that Patriot battery, we would definitely want to know about it. Alright, with 8,000 pounds of gas and all these external bags, we're a bit heavy and draggy for a landing in the F-16, but we'll make it work for today for the interest of shortening this video. 1,000 feet to go on the descent. You can still see Tally trailing back there. Perfect. Got more than enough gas to get home. And via the ATIS, when we start it up, we're probably going to get a visual approach, but we're obviously going to get another ATIS here just in case things may have changed. Whoop. Came through 15,000. Let's get back up. Alright, there's 15,000. I'm not too worried about it, the controller didn't see it. Altitude hold, and we should be good. Because H4 airfield is standing in for King Faisal Air Base, it's a pretty short runway, so I'm going to set up for a nice straight-in if we get the visual. As well as the ATC commands for us in the campaign here seem to be calling more for a straight-in approach than an initial to an overhead. But we'll see what we get here. Alright, looks like Tally is gaining on us a bit. About 32 nautical miles out from King Faisal Air Base.
Weasels, grab ATIS for King Faisal, then go button 8.
Alright, we've got button 2 for ATIS.
Temperature 24, dew point minus 25. Altimeter 3002. Runway engine 28. Expect visual approach. Acknowledge receipt of information golf. King Faisal Air Base information golf.
Alright, we've got golf. Wind is more or less the same. Altimeter is also the same. Approach is button 8.
Visibility greater than 2.
Weasels, check.
Weasel 3-2.
King Faisal approaches Weasel 3 flight, inbound with Golf, request initial, runway 28.
Weasel flight, approach, radar contact, descent to 5,000. Report from 5,000 out, expect visual approach for runway 28.
Weasel 3-1, descent to 5,000, report 5 miles out, visual approach for runway 28.
Alright, we are already squished up real close against our airfield here.
Weasel 3-1, switching tower.
Power is button 3. And we'll maneuver the aircraft for initial for waypoint, or sorry, for runway 28. Alright, there's 5,000.
Altitude.
And we'll start to turn in for initial, so it looks like it is actually setting us up for the overhead.
King Faisal Tower, Weasel 3, 2 ship, 5 mile initial, runway 28, full stop.
Weasel 3-1, tower clear to land, runway 28, winds are calm.
Tower, Weasel 3-1, cleared to land, runway 28.
Alright, we are cleared to land, runway 28. And we are about halfway down the runway, so we will start the brake. Alright, we're under VG, so we'll get the gear out. That'll help us descend a little easier.
Warning, warning, warning.
There we go. We got 3 green. bit of left wing down trim. And we'll start our base turn. Raise our seat up just a little bit so we can see the HUD a little bit better. Getting a little on the low side, only about 1,500 feet above the ground now. And we are coming around from base to final. A little on the fast side. We're a little on the high side. We'll come on down. It's a little bit of a tighter turn to bleed off some airspeed and kill some altitude. Speed brake is still fully extended. And because of the short runway, we're definitely going to want to touch down right in the touchdown zone. So we're going to place our velocity vector there and fly right to it. That's looking better. That's looking like a shallower approach. Still a little fast. Back on the speed a bit. Come on. Start a flare. Oh, a little rougher than I would have thought. Or would have wanted, I should say. We're going to keep that nose up for a little bit of aero braking. We are out of energy, so we are nose down on the ground. We'll start to get on the brakes. That was a pretty terrible landing. But hey, at least we are on the ground. Alright. Get our nose wheel steering turned on. And we'll come off to the right-hand side of the runway.
Weasel 3-1 tower, vacate the active, go to shelters 1 and 6.
Tower Weasel 3-1, vacate the active, shelters 1 and 6.
And based off of our airfield diagram, shelter 1 is the first left here. Alright. Okay, we are going to shelter 1. Clear on the left. It looks like this is a one-way shelter, but we're still going to pull into it. Alright, we made it. We have a debriefing available, but let's first shut down the aircraft. Alright, we'll get the battery turned off, and we can hit left Alt and B and go through our debriefing. So it'll change the objective here to a, after successful mission, we spend time with Tally going through every aspect, as always, viewing tapes and notes, including my terrible landing there, which I'm sure that my crew chief is not happy about that. The ROE was clear on the fencer attacking the AT-Temp factory complex. Arrived on station, we check in with Ghost, we noticed the convoy of vehicles, we engaged the convoy, so we got 15 points on that. And then when checking with Ghost, we had a long list of juicy targets. Tally engaged the APC, while we engaged the tank using the GVO-12. We did not allow the ISIS tank crew to get advanced warning and let it escape, and then we used the GBU-12 in case they did start to move. That went well, 15 points there. And our third target was the ammo dump, 15 points scored there. And after you return to base and landed, we got 5 points on that. And as you go through the mission, like we talked about earlier, guys, when you start to point out different events like that fencer or like the battle occurring at Tomf factory complex, using the keybinds for interacting with the campaign, you'll be able to score more points that way. And if you score enough points through the mission, you'll be allowed to advance on to the next mission. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I am definitely looking forward to flying through more of these campaign missions. I've gone up through mission about 7 at this point, and I'm looking forward to seeing the downfall of ISIS in the Battle of Raqqa in the culminating and ending mission. So thanks a lot, guys. Fly safe out there and enjoy this beautiful game, and big thanks to Baltic Dragon.